Hi.
My name is Dr. Sparkles.
And I'm Sara ReVoe.
And Sarah is the upcoming author of her book called Blossom. So I would like to ask a question. What inspired you to write?
So many things inspired me to write it. So Blossom is a kind of a mix between a poetry book and my personal journal. So for those of you who don't know anything about me, which is probably everybody watching out there, but I'm a Reiki master teacher. I own my own business here at Light and Space Collective, so I work alongside this beautiful, beautiful soul next to me. She's pretty awesome. She's wearing a cat shirt right now, and I just absolutely love that. But this is like a very holistic health collective that we work at here, and so I do sessions, we do full moon circles, stuff like that. But Blossom for me really is a journey. So it's a poetry book that takes you alongside my spiritual journey. It starts off, so it's threefold. If you guys are familiar with like Milk and Honey, it's kind of has that similar vibe where there's different sections to it. So it starts off with a seed planted, and then it goes to breaking through the soil, and then Blossom is where it finishes. So when I started my book, I was a psychosocial rehabilitation specialist, which is just like super fancy for a social worker of mental health. And I would serve the most severe cases of mental health in the San Diego County. And it really did change me as a person. I mean, I've always been very into spirituality and working on my spiritual side and meditating all of the time and doing Reiki, but just being around that vibration really brought me into a different place in my life than I wanted to go to. So I was, working as a social worker during the week and then drinking and blacking out every weekend. So the book starts off with a cry for help. I was just in the darkest hour of my life. Like, it was so much pressure on me in the work week, and you're feeling all of this sadness for the clients that you're seeing every day, and you're taking it on as your own. And it changes you. It really does. So it brings you from this light, positive person into like just really saddened. So Blossom starts off at that point for me. So I'm really sad. It starts off with a cry for help. It's a journal entry of mine. So Blossom is a mix between my poetry and my journal entries throughout my awakening process. Cry for help. That's where it starts off. Super dramatic. If you can tell, I'm kind of a dramatic person. I reread it and I was like, holy cow, Sarah. But that's just where I was at that time in my life. I was really, really in a dark place. And, it starts off at that point, and it's like my sad poetry and everything. And then, so that is a seed planted. And then breaking through the soil was me realizing something has to change. Like, you cannot keep doing this. Like, this cannot be your life right now. Like, you're on the verge of addiction. I am extremely spiritual on the side, but it's just like that was really what was holding me together. Like, I was a mess, and how am I supposed to help my clients if I'm also a mess when I get home, and it's just like, it just wasn't working out for me. So breaking through the soil was my efforts in changing my life around, changing my habits, doing more spiritual work. Honestly, it was because of my mentor, Melanie Esperon, fabulous woman. She told me I needed to quit my job immediately. She said, quit your job, jump into spiritual work full time. So you know what I did? I quit my job. I put in a month of notice. Next day, I said, bye. My mentor said I gotta go, so I gotta go. So I had no idea what I was gonna do. Absolutely none. I was like, all right. She said jump into spiritual work full time. At this time, I was doing Reiki, but like I wasn't like offering it for sale. I wasn't like charging people. I was like on my family, my friends, everything like that. And so it was just kind of like a side hustle for free. The for free kind of hustle. Free hustle. So I was like, all right, I'll start charging for it, And so I signed up for an LLC and started getting my business going. And I honestly just took that leap of faith. And when I did, the net appeared. And so
What's LAC?
LLC, it's like your business license kind of thing in California. But I honestly don't know what acronym stands for. It's like licensed another L, California.
Practice.
I don't freaking know. But honestly, I got one of those how to starting a business for dummies book, and then like a taxes for dummies book. I can figure it out. I've done fine. So business aspect of it is chilling. So took that leap of faith. The net was there, and it was like one door after the next. It just started swinging open for me. Light and Space, this collective, you should check it out. It's so beautiful. It wasn't even open yet. Like, it wasn't open. I didn't know Michelle or anything, and I just had come across it on Instagram, like one of the first days I put in my notice, and I didn't even think about renting a room here. I didn't know how this community worked. Like, I didn't know that's what you did. And so I was just like, oh, let me check the space out. I just want to see it. So, like, the floors weren't even in here. And I came, met Michelle. She was fabulous. We just instantly clicked together. And I was like, I love this woman. And she was like, okay, like, well, this is the room's rent, like, how much they cost. And I was like, well, I wasn't, like, looking to rent one. I just, like, wanted to see it. And then she was like, oh, well, it's there if you want it. And I was like, all right, I want it. Like, okay, well, like, if I was presented with this opportunity, you got to take it. When life gives you those little breadcrumbs, you've got to be those little kids that are eating those breadcrumbs along the way. You know, it's not all bad. The story, it was bad when the little kids, when they ate the breadcrumbs, they found themselves at like a... Anyways, that's so besides the point. But it's amazing. Light and Space is just absolutely amazing. And it's just, I've seen my life blossom. So that is my word of the year. That is what my book is called. It's called Blossom. So breaking through the soil was my transition period. So it was me leaving my job. And that was really hard to do because those clients became my family and my coworkers, and you've been through so much with them. And it's hard to leave because we experience secondhand trauma every single day because we were there with the clients during the most traumatic and hard times of their life. And some of the times you're the only person that client sees for a week, and it's just like you're helping them through these times. And so it's really hard to leave and then hard to transition. I mean, change is scary for everyone, but I was already on the roller coaster. You gotta get going, like buckle up. So was on the roller coaster, and it took off, and it went fast. It went flying, and it was the funnest ride. It's been the best ride so far. So that's breaking through the soil. And then it goes to Blossom, and that's basically where I'm at right now, the happiest time of my life. I'm doing what I love on a daily basis. Like, I'm doing spiritual energy work through the week and also writing a book. Like, it's such a beautiful life when you take that jump and you have faith in the universe. Like, I had no idea what was going to happen, but the universe delivered. She said, it's time, step up. I stepped up, and she has provided every single step of the way. I mean, I haven't gone one day without eating, like, granted, I go on a lot of dates, so they feed me a lot. But even so, I'd be able to buy my own food. I think that's a great thriving start to a business for its first year if you can feed yourself. So it's been wonderful. And Blossom, it really goes, the tone of it changes so much. It goes from like, oh my God, I'm so sad, to just really happy. And I feel back to myself again. I lost myself for a while, and now I'm back, and I'm better. So we're here. We're having a great time, and that's what Blossom is about. It's my transition in such a short amount of time, and my hopes is that, because it really touches every audience. Like, I go from a very dark time to a very light time, and people have found themselves in each of those times at some point or another in their life. We're human beings. We are constantly evolving and going through these cyclic periods in our life of sadness and happiness, and just depending on what's going on, and it's just part of being human. So I think it does touch people on that level, and it shows you that even when you are at the bottom of the barrel, like, you can climb yourself back up, and it's so beautiful on the other side. I read somewhere today, I don't remember who quoted it, but they said, if you find yourself in hell, like, why would you stay there? You know, why would you stop that destination there? Like, climb yourself back up. If you find yourself in darkness, why would you want to stay there, right? Like, you got to make those changes. Those changes are not going to happen for you. It is an effort process. Life is about the effort that you put in. Whatever effort you put out there, it's going to be matched back to you. Like, it's not just gonna, I mean, even if you're born with a golden spoon, you're not going to have an easy route in life. Like, life is going to throw you so much shit and be like, can you handle it? What are you gonna learn from this? You know, do you want to become a stronger person? Yes. All right, well then dig yourself out of there. Get yourself up. Stand up. You know, just stand up. Blossom is just me standing up. And then dancing. And then singing a little bit. And then shaking my booty. Would you ask what Blossom was about?
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. So what would you say, you kind of answered it, but what would you say would be your message to people who are struggling?
Keep going. Just keep going. Like, even the littlest baby steps. Like, if you find yourself like someone who can't get out of bed, right? Like, say you're at that low of a point. You can't get yourself out of bed that day. Little things, just even the smallest thing helps. Calling a friend. Don't even have to get out of bed that day. Call a friend and just be like, look, I need help, or I just need someone to talk to right now. Or even if you don't even want to tell someone you need help, because I didn't either. I didn't even know I needed help. Like, I was in such a weird headspace. But like, even just like calling a friend and being like, hey, what's up? You don't even have to tell them yet. Like, you don't have to do anything. It's just making those little baby steps. And you'll see that each little baby step accumulates into like huge steps. And you look back, and I look back at this point in my life last year, I was blacking out every weekend. That's not me anymore, you know? Like, that, those little steps. I said I was going to go on a freaking cleanse every week to my friends. Every single week, the weekend will roll around. I'll be like, no, I'm going on a juice cleanse. We're not drinking this weekend. Come on, Sarah, like, the best DJ's coming into town. Like, everyone's gonna be there, like, yada, yada. You can start your cleanse next weekend. I postponed this cleanse so many times, like, for like 6 months. Like, the cleanse was pushed back every weekend, and it's just like, even having the thought that you want to change something makes a difference. That is even a step right there. Like, finding that flicker of hope. And I have seen people, not just myself, but seen people in the darkest moments of their life and made 180 turns and are having a beautiful life now. It's just, when we are in darkness, it's hard to see past it. It's hard to see the light when you're in darkness. It's hard to see that there is a brighter future above you, because you're like, well, I'm sitting in a really shitty one right now. Like, and the second that you let go of that victim mindset and realize that we are the ones that co-create our life, and that, you know, we are the ones that write our story. We are the ones, the authors of our own book. Like, what kind of character do you want to be? You know, like, who do you want to be in your book? Mm-hmm. Do you want to be the person that lays in bed all day, every single day, and doesn't even try to get up? Or do you want to be that person that does that little, like, you know, just a little sit up and like, not working out today. I'll lay back down. Tomorrow, maybe my abs will be a little bit stronger for me to sit all the way up. Like, at least you're trying, you know, and you're going to be so thankful you did. You're going to be so thankful that you did, because you're going to get to a point in your life where you're happy and you're in the light, and you're going to be like, wow, if I would have just stayed and been complacent and still had that victim mindset and didn't take back the steering wheel of my life, I wouldn't have anything that is around me right now.
Mm-hmm. So
this,
no, yeah. When does one know they need help?
I think that's different for everybody. I really do. I think that is different for everyone. I mean, it could be an epiphany flicker of like knowledge moment for you that like, okay, something needs to change, or it could be an outside source. Like, say you are, you know, fighting addiction. It could be a family member being, you know, having a intervention for you. Like, I would joke to my friends that I would come home and like my friends would be there like all crying, like, Sarah, this is what you did when you blacked out, like, you need to stop it. Like, I would joke about that stuff, you know, and it's like, that's not really that funny. Like, but sometimes it's a feeling from yourself, sometimes I feel like it's from other people. I don't know. I and everyone everyone's journey is different. Not one person's journey is the same, so there's no really answer for that. It comes when it needs to. And what's the funny thing about life is that it throws us these hard times because we need to learn the lessons. I mean, we're souls who come here to learn lessons, to have life experiences. We are souls having this human experience, which brings dark times, because humans, we are biologically designed to have sad emotions, like the chemical response that we have creates sadness and all of that. I don't know the chemistry behind it. I'm not gonna act like I know, but like low serotonin or something. I don't know. Dopamine is in there too. But it's just like our bodies are created to feel every emotion, right? It's like you can't avoid it. If you really like somebody and they break your heart, you're going to feel sadness. And so instead of pushing that aside and being like, I shouldn't be sad, like allow yourself to experience that sadness, because that is a lesson in and of itself. But if you find yourself in this constant dark time, I think that, again, it's very circumstantial. It's really different for everybody. For me, I think personally, it was because I've always been a very light, bubbly person. And I slowly, with this job, I only had it for about 1.5 years. But being in that environment and seeing that sadness every day, it was like just a little scratch, and then you have this huge wound, and you're like, oh, well, I gotta go to the hospital now. Like, my whole arm's about to be scratched off. And so it's just, I think it's different for everyone. For me, I realized this is not who I am. This is not who I was, and this is not who I want to be. Mm-hmm. So I made the conscious effort to change, because I could see myself, if I were to continue in that job, continue down that pattern, what it would be like in 5 years. I would be in rehab. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be there.
Yeah. Beautiful. So you set the tone for your own character.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I have a funny character, and she's pretty cool. So I'm going to keep writing that script. I wasn't able to even remember the funny stuff I was doing all the time, because, I was still funny when I drank. It was just, I wouldn't have been able to write it down in the book, because I didn't remember it. It was all third-party stories I was getting the next day. And then you think to yourself, all right, like, when is it that I stop being the entertainment for people, and like, are they actually laughing with me or at me? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be laughed at. I want to be laughed with. I can laugh at my own life, but I can't laugh at it if I didn't remember experiencing it.
Yeah. You want to be star of your own show. You want to be the main character.
Oh yeah, exactly. How are you going to be the main character if you don't even remember what the main character is doing? Mm-hmm. So.
Beautiful. Well, I enjoyed this interview with you, and I enjoy being a co-creator of this beautiful light and space and this reality.
Oh,
thank you so much.
You're welcome.